Alright, we are back. Instant recording. So here what we're going to be doing is adding a UI for this. So right now we've just got this label at the bottom, but let's make some nice Quest UI for this. So for those that don't want to do this, I'll make sure to have everything on copy lock so you can grab it for yourself. But yeah, so I'm just going to quickly make some UI here. I'm going to make sure everything properly scales for you. Let me just make that visible so I know where it is. So here, anchor point, what that's saying is it's going to resize to that anchor point when the screen's scaling. So it's important to have it on the far right when you have your UI on the right side, and then have it on the left if your UI is on the left side. So I'm probably just going to chuck it there. That aspect ratio. For this one, it's going to be half. So if you play around with this number, you'll see 1 is a perfect square, 2 is a rectangle, or I should say like perfect scaling rectangle, and then it just goes down like that. And then half is a vertical rectangle, and so forth as it gets smaller. But yeah, so here we've got aspect ratio. So if I just resize the screen now, see how it's scaling perfectly, it's staying where it is. This is the container. Oh, quest. I just put quests frame. Oh, we're going to add a grid layout. That's a gradient. I meant grid layout. We're going to have a frame in there. Let me make this invisible now. Don't need the background. This will be our template quest. 0.20. So that's saying make the size along the horizontal the whole frame size. So have it the size of this frame, and then 0.2 is saying make it a fifth of the whole size going down. Remember that max quest is 3, so technically I could do it as 0.33. That's up to you though. I actually might just keep it like this. And then if I copy and paste it, you can see how that fares off against that. Let me just change the color so I can test this. So yeah, so there's like a little bit at the bottom here. What you can do is in the vertical alignment here, just set it to center and it'll equalize it. And then what you'll need is an aspect ratio in here. So right now it's a perfect square, so if we make that 2, it'll be a perfect rectangle. And then you can just change the background transparency to 1 here. You can make a little bit of spacing like that. And then I'm going to have some labels here that I can use. So this one's be 0.5, 0.2. So we're too small. Let's make that 0.32. And yeah, this is how you make UI. So here I'm going to actually have the quest title in the top left. Make sure it's scaled so it stands bold. I'm going to have that in the middle of the whole thing. And then let's have a 0.5 here. So a neat thing is if you have anchor point as half, you can actually set the position to half and it'll just be perfectly in the middle of the whole thing. And then you'd have that as like 0.9. I'm going to have it 0.4. Here I'm going to set the line height to 2. And then I'm going to have this is the quest's description. This contains information on how to complete the quest. So, actually I might just put it back to 1 or 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. Yeah, so changing line height, you can see how it's affecting it there. So this is the title, this is the description. That, look at the color changing, we've got the text changing. Another thing I might actually want is My god, it's really... Let me make that a little bit bigger like that. So here what I'm going to do is add a... You don't have to do this, but I'm going to add a progress bar for the quest. And here I'm going to do 0.8, 0.2, 4426. I'm going to make it perfectly in the middle, so anchor point half, position half. I'm going to call this the bar back, up to you know. And I'm going to duplicate it, put inside it, call this the bar. Position, I'm just going to set it back to 0, 0, 0, 0. Get rid of the anchor point. Size, so when you're doing bars like this, you want the size to be 1, 1, since it's inside it. Then you only need to change the horizontal scale here. And if you're looking at the frame, you can see it's going up and down. So here I'm just going to have a like darker orange. And then for the bar, I'll have a lighter orange. Like so. And then I'm going to have a label in here. I'm going to make the background transparency 1, so it's see-through. Size 1010. I'm going to have 0 out of 0. Actually, I'll do 0 out of number. Scale that, make it white. Here, I'm going to make sure the Z index is 2, so that way it's always in front of the bar. So even if the bar's like moving around, it won't go behind it, it will stay in the front. And then I'm just going to play with a little bit more. Alright, I think that's actually there. So now that's going to be like, each quest will have its own thing like this. Like that. So here you can see it's a little bit too big for the whole thing. I'm going to actually turn that size down. Horizontal alignment is left. Let me make that right. And there you go. That's scaling like that. Make it a little bit smaller. Now you can have a X button if you want to get rid of the quest. That's up to you. You know what? For the sake of this, I'll add it too. So we'll get rid of. We'll have a remove. We'll have a remove button. 43. There we go. 0.2, 0.3. I'll have it. Let's say underneath the frame. Actually, no, I'll put it. Oh, this is where design comes in. I have in the top right. Let's jump to the toolbox. Grab a X button. Up to you what you want. Let me have a look at this one. UI library. I kind of want one that I can color, which would be this one. So now if we have a look at that, yeah. Let me make that red. Alright, there we go. Now that one's got it. Let me just scale it a little bit more. And add it to these three. So you need to make sure that the size is scaling, so it scales properly. If it's in offset, which is a second number for each of these parenthesis tables, it will be in offset, which means it won't scale at all. It's a set number of pixels. But now that we've got that, we can script the UI. So for this one, I'm just going to remove all but one of them. And I'm going to do... let's have a separate one here. I will put this inside the UI, I reckon. Yeah, so I'll put this one inside the UI. I'll call this handler. And let me change how this works. So script.parent. Active data equals nil. Function module on data update. Actually, I'll just do function on data update. It'll be easier if I have it like that. So on data update straight afterwards. Have that in there. So we'll just do that. I'm gonna increase the rate. Usually you don't want to do something like this. So what I recommend you do is have like a JSON string here, and then you can do local new data equals HTTP service JSON encode the active data. And then if new data does not equal to old JSON data, then old data JSON equals new data plus defer update data. That way it's not spamming the update every 0.25 seconds. Now that we've got that, let's have a look here. Let's move that template quest inside the frame here. So local template quest frame equals script wait for child template quest. And then this is up to you, but you can actually make separate functions that you call inside this on data update. So here I can do on, or actually quest update, or do quest update, and then do data update, or do data updated, do quest updated. Yeah, so naming conventions up to you. But here we'll do for underscore quest data in IPAS. I actually do want to do an if statement here. So if not active quest data return. So if there's no player data, just return. Don't do anything. Otherwise, if there is active data, do active data.quests, do local quest config equals we actually need that module. Let's do local quest configs. Actually, I'll just do quest data. No, quest config equals replica storage, wait for child, modules, wait for child, quests. So here you might actually want to separate them. So local modules folder equals replica storage, wait for child modules. Local remotes folder equals replica storage, wait for child remotes. And then you can sort them out via that, rather than having super long variables. There we go. And you can have like, sort of like this if you wanted to. So you know what one's under what. So here we're going to do quest config get. Did I do require? No, I did not. Require. Quest config get quest from ID. So now we're going to get the quest data. Quest data.id. Oh, we're going to get the quest config using the quest data, which is inside the player's data. Then we want to do the same thing. If not quest config, then continue. And then we want to create a new frame if it's non-existent. We're going to do local active frame equals interface dot quests frame find first child. Since we need to have these frames have a unique ID so that we don't get them muddled up, we're going to reuse this quest data.id. So we'll name the frame the quest data's ID so that way they're all separate and unique. You're going to do if not active frame, then active frame equals template quest frame clone. So you might actually not need this variable at all. This is just the one point where you actually use it. So you can just do simply script.template quest :clone. The name you want to set to the quest ID. The layout order you can do however you want. layout order equals. So here, this is lower U. You can set the type of object that it is, so that way things show up properly. So if I type active frame again and try do layout order, it will show up this time. And it says a number, so let's just do a I there. Actually, no, I won't worry about layout order. But what I do want to worry about is the title and such. So the title. So let's jump back to the config real quick. I'll show you why I set it up this way instead. So here, what I can do is since we've got the individual properties, we can directly edit the text label here to these properties. So I can do for property name, property value in pairs. Remember, it's a dictionary. Quest config dot display dot title do. So for all the titles configs, do active frame dot title property name equals property value, like that. And then we can do the same for description, like so. And then we can have something for this remove button. So right now we won't implement it yet, but we'll do connect function. Oh wait, got the dot activated. So if it's an image button, you need the dot activated. So when it's clicked, or if it's like controller, if you select it and then you trigger it. Remove quest. We just want to print for the moment. I'm just going to move that into one line. So remember, these frames are only created once, so you don't have to worry about dealing with these. Because when you destroy this frame, I'll show you how you do that. I will get rid of all the events associated with it. But that's out the way. The bar, I would actually just change the label for now. We'll have a separate loop to update all the bars. All the frames are still there. Actually no, that'll come second, but I'll show you that. So here what we want to do is active frame dot bar back dot label dot text equals the quest data got contributions dot dot out of dot dot the quest config dot require contributions. So this is saying it'll put the number of contributions you currently have first. So it'll be with those %s's. And then after the slash here, it'll put the required contributions. So it'll be like 0 out of 3 completed. I'm gonna move this maybe to the outside, so that way it updates every time the loops are in. So remember, inside this if statement, it's created once. However, on the outside, it's updated. So we want to keep that one updated. Now that we've got that, anything else we need to do? No, not there. Alright. Oh, we need to actually update the bar. So, active frame dot bar back dot bar. We're going to tween size. And if we just have a look here, let me pull up the API for you. This is at developer.roblox.com. Let's have a look at a frame. There it is. Let's have a look at the tween size function. I think it pulled up something else. No, we're on here. Oh, there it is. Tween size. What does it take? It takes a UDIM2 to unit dimension 2D. We've got the end size. We can pass in a easing direction, easing style, the time, a boolean for override. Now this one will always be true, so we have to set it to true. Oh, I mean, the default is false, but we need it to be true so that we can be overridden, and we won't worry about the callback. So what we're going to do is just copy that and paste it on top. And we can do udem2 dot from scale. So remember, we're going to do everything scaling. And then here it's just simply dividing those two. And then comma 1. So let me put these on separate lines so you can actually read them. There we go. So we don't need the function, so we can just ignore that one. We always want to override the time we want it to update, or just do something like 0.25. Now here, just make sure you've double checked this one, because this is usually what people get. Make sure you got the comma 1, so that's saying the height of the bar should be the full size of the actual bar background. So if you have like 0.5, it'd be half the size of the bar background, which we don't want. We want it to fill the whole thing. But for these other two, you need enums. So enum.easing direction. This one I'm going to use in out. For the easing style, I'm going to use linear. And that's the thing there. Now, I usually create a function that pretty much does all of this. I just have to pass in the size, pass in the time, and everything else is just in, out, linear, and true. I'm going to do that because we may end up using it quite a bit. So here I'm going to do local function L tween size. We've got the frame, end size, duration. Duration equals duration or 0.5. So it's saying if duration's nil, just make it 0.5 by default. So if either of these two are nil, it will error. So we want that. And then I pass in the frame, tween size. We just want the end size there, and everything else is sorted. And add the duration, of course, and then everything else is sorted. Alright, now that we've done that, let's go back and change this. So pass in the bar background, or the bar frame itself. We're going to pass in the udem we made, and the duration we'll put as 0.25. But you don't need to have that duration if you don't want to. Now that's done, let's continue. So now we've created all the frames. How about frames that are non-existent now? So what about frames or quests that have been removed and are no longer in the player data? What can we do there? Well, we can have a table. So for every quest data here, we'll add the quest data ID to a table. Then we'll loop through all of the frames inside the quest frames here. And if that frame, inside the quest frame, if the name of that frame, so remember how we set it, the frame's name to the quest ID, if that is not inside the table that we create, that holds all the different quest data.IDs for like every data update, I will destroy the frame because there's no quest data for it. So what I mean by this is, let's say we've got a quest ID cache, so it's temporary. What we want to do is table.insert quest ID cache, the quest ID here. So it's saying, yes, this quest is still inside the player data. Make sure you do not delete any frames associated with it. And then I'm just going to remove the spaces, hopefully you can still read it. But here what we can do is for_frame in ipairs interface dot quests frame do. Now here, remember we need to check if it's a frame because there is other things here. So if frame is a frame, then if frame is a frame and not table.find, the quest ID cache, the frame name. So remember the frame name is the quest ID itself. So if we have not looped over that quest, we want to get rid of the frame associated with that quest that we did not loop over and check all of its frames and all of that. So if not table find that frame name, destroy the frame. And that's it. That removes all old quests, and yeah, it's magic. Now that we've got that, we'll probably have some errors. We'll check it. but let's play it real quick. Yep, so iPad's got instance. Let's have a look at it. Line 48. You can't click that, so you have to find it manually. Line 48. My mistake, I could use get children to get everything inside that frame. Alright, so if we have a look, we've got no quest currently, but if I click that button, there we go, we got another one. Let's have a look at that. Oh, okay, so this one is just the naming. So Roblox has a deprecate function called remove. So let's just rename this to clear. And we're going to do active frame dot clear dot activated connect function print cleared. Can only tween objects inside workspace. That's a odd one. That is a very strange one. Huh. Okay, hold on. Let's just hold off on that one for a moment. Let's just get everything else working. Apple Quest, collectible. Alright. So right now there's nothing inside it. So I believe I didn't set the parent of the frame. I think that's what's happening here. Yeah, so active frame dot parent equals interface dot quests frame. Just add that one there. So it'll show up on the right side. There we go. So apple collector, collect some apples to complete this quest. If we press this, it says remove quest. And then we just need this button down here. So right now it says 0 out of 3. If I click that, 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3. And it gets rid of it when we complete the quest, since it's no longer inside the array. Let me just get rid of that there. Alright, so now let's fix this last problem. This L tween size, is this frame nil? I have a feeling that's probably what's causing it. Or is it just not working for whatever reason? Oh, no, there we go. Okay, it decides to work now. There we go. So it's actually tweening the frame now. There we go. We've got 2 quests there. So if I start collecting these, that one's filling up. That one's filling up. And there we go. Our quest system is basically done. Now, if we just jump back here, let's get rid of that. Now, let's add the other functionality that we're missing. The remove quest button. This one's super easy to do. All I'm going to do is create a new remote. I'm going to get a remote event. Let's do quests or quest. And let me just get it here. Local quest. Remote event equals remote folder wait for child quest or quests. And we'll fire server. Fire server. Oh, that's just not showing up here. Fire server. We want to pass in the ID of the quest. So let me just put that. So when we click clear, tell the server what our thing is. Let's say remove. And then, yeah. So you don't need this unless you have it like named remove quest or something like that. Actually, let me just name it that. Remove quest remote event. Let me just do that for the sake of this tutorial. Keep it simple. Now if we just jump to this here, let's get the quest. Alright, let's get that remote event. So local replicated remote equals replica storage wait for child remote. Local remove quest remote event equals replicated remote wait for child remove quest. Now let's do on server event connect function. we're given the local player and we're given the, well, we might be given the quest ID. Now this is where we're going to do checks to check if it is actually a valid thing they're sending. So here we can use type of. So if type of quest ID is equal to string. So if it's a string, then continue on. We want to get the player's profile also. So if type of quest ID is equal to string and player profile is not null, for underscore quest data in ipairs play profile dot data dot quests do, and we can just remove the table. That's all we need to do. So if quest data dot id is equal to quest id, then table dot remove out of the player's quests from their data the I, and then we can break. So that's just going to end the loop, so we don't remove anything else. Now if we try that, play the game. So we've got no quests at the moment. If I pick up the apple and pear one, let's say I don't like pears, there goes the pears. And I can collect these apples. And there we go. That's our quest system fully done. And then if you want to do anything else, like for the rewards, you just pretty much do it inside this function. Now, obviously, if you're going to have, let's say, some specific, well, you can probably do it in here, but let's say you have a module dedicated to like rewards. What you're gonna have to do is put this rewards function in a module on the server, so that we can access all the other server systems, and then you can have this module in here to be shared. So that the server can use the ID here, can use the required contributions, but this reward function would be on the server only. For the sake of keeping it simple, I put it on the shared. This still won't affect like the player at all. Like if there's an exploit and they run this function with all the correct parameters, it won't do anything because of how filtering enabled works. So you don't have to worry about it too much, unless you've got some other systems that you want to utilize, which is like in server storage or something. That's when you're gonna have to like move this elsewhere or have some sort of way to get those modules inside server storage. But hey, for this we don't need it, so we're all good. Everything works. And yeah, hopefully you've learned something. So this was quite a large system. This is going to be like a big jump that we just did. We did like a mini collectible system. We've got quests going. Like, it's pretty bulky that we've got here. With some crazy scripting there. This would be used for a inventory frame too. That's another way of doing it. You can reuse this for an inventory frame. You can have install quest tasks. Just rename it. Yeah, there's different uses. You can use it for hotbars potentially too, depending on how you do that. And yeah, hope you've learned something, and let me know what you want next. Now, I have been seeing that the sword on back tutorial is not working properly, or people are having like trouble working with it. Yeah, a lot of things are changing, and I should have probably kept the model and made it uncopy locked, but that was scripted a while ago, so I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty bad, but it teaches some things, that's why I've kept it there. But yeah, I'll probably fix that if I've got time. I always have time, but I usually don't redo tutorials, but yeah. See you in the next tutorial. We might do crafting or something like that. I might enjoy that. See you then.